Okay, it says we're live.
Just in case, I've got a word list of politically correct words.
Oh.
But only if we get around to there.
You're not in the shot. Oh, Kathy's here. Hi, Kathy. And Julie's here. Oh, Kathy says it's a beautiful day on the East Coast, warmer than it has been lately. Well, yeah, it's been warmer here, but it's a bit dark and drizzly and whatnot.
It's not drizzly. It's just dark.
Yeah, well, of course, it is that time of the year, isn't it? Phyllis is here. Hi, Phyllis. She says clear, dry roads in western Michigan.
It's supposedly 6 or 7 degrees Celsius here today.
It's going down though this week.
But it's a good day to put Christmas lights on.
Yeah, I guess. Hi, Carol, and hi, Debs, and hi, Catherine.
Just checking here. It's 5 degrees here.
Hi, Jody. Jody says in Colorado they have snow on the ground, but the roads are clear. 'Tis the season.
We don't have any snow.
We don't need snow. We had snow last week, but rained yesterday when it melted most of it away. Jetty's here. Hi there. And Anita's here. Hi, Anita. She says it's a pretty day in Ohio, but rain coming this evening.
It's 5 degrees here, and that means it's 41 degrees Fahrenheit in the U.S.
And Cindy is here. Okay, just before we began, a disclaimer. We looked into why we were having those buffering problems that we've had the last couple of weeks where near the end of the broadcast, we just sort of freeze and all you can do is hear us, which may not be such a bad thing, I suppose. And Walter read online something about clearing out the buffer on the iPad, like turning it right off and turning it back up before you do a broadcast. So I have done that today. We will see what happens. But we're not the only people experiencing this problem, apparently. So once again, nobody knows whether it has something to do with Apple technology or with YouTube technology or with internet speeds or anything like that. So we'll just hope for the best and hope that we don't have this problem again today. But if we do, well, we'll have to go back to the drawing board and see what we can do about it. Okay, what are you doing?
Just turn the overhead lights down a little bit because they always
mood
get a little
lighting?
bit of glare.
Oh, mood lighting? Would you like to light a candle? You're sitting kind of high. Well, I guess, though, you do look like you're even with me. Well, whatever. Okay.
Considering I'm taller than you are.
Well, what are you doing now?
I'm adjusting my stool.
Yeah, all eyes are on Walter as he picks his seat. Yeah, okay. What else? Phyllis says, I always watch you on my iPad Air 2, no problems ever. Okay, well, like I said, who knows? Technology, when you need it the most, lets you down the most, usually. Okay, so what's been happening? My mother. Like, isn't that how we start every show? Let's talk about my mother. Actually, I'm a little pissed off with my mother right now. Okay, I'll back up. You know she's in the nursing home, blah, blah, blah. And she has a crazy lady. Well, she's not crazy. The poor lady has dementia and doesn't know what she's doing. Mm-hmm. And she tends to act out. You can't understand her, and she's not supposed. She can't walk, but she tries to get up out of bed and do that, and they have her all wired up. I think I said this last week. So if she tries to get out of bed, an alarm goes off, and the nurses are all flocked around her so she doesn't hurt herself. But she's also a little bit violent. According to my mother, she has run into my mother with her wheelchair. You know, there's a lot of wheelchairs in the place. I'm sure there's a few times there's some, crashes. And she said that she also...
She probably doesn't know what she's doing.
No, she doesn't know what she's doing. The poor lady has severe dementia. And she pulled my mother's hair once. And then my mother's been complaining, I guess, to the nursing staff that she can't get any sleep at night because this other lady is up and about and making noise and blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, first of all, to take my mother's side of the case, I don't think that the person with this severe dementia should be put into the same room as other people who don't have dementia or are not that bad. And my mother does not have dementia, as you well know. But on the other hand, the problem with our healthcare system up here, as in every place in North America and probably around the world, is that beds are at a premium, and there's probably no other place to put this lady.
Yeah, well, the baby boomers are all getting old, and they don't have enough beds, and they haven't kept up with increasing the number of beds for nursing homes or retired long-term care or whatever you want to call it.
Hi, Tracy.
And so now they're finding all these people needing to move into one of these places, and there's no room in them. So the waiting lists to get into them are enormous. And it used to be that they'd have like separate sections for dementia and separate sections for non-dementia. But right now, all the people that are in these places, a lot of them have dementia. So they go wherever they can go.
Yeah, so the bottom line, though, is my mother says she couldn't sleep, repeated nights, whatever. So the staff moved her. They moved her into another room just a few doors down from her existing room, supposedly in with some ladies who are quieter, is what they told me. Also, her bed is now closer to where there's a window as well. Now, there are 3 people in one of these rooms. The rooms are not huge. And so it is a little on the squishy side. So we went over on Friday. I didn't phone my mother because I had to make arrangements to move her TV and her phone service from the one room to the other room. Just got it installed, so I had to phone up Bell. And that was on Friday. I get the call from the nursing home. No, Thursday. I was in a sewing class. Thursday I get a call that they're going to do this the next day, the Friday. And so I had to phone Bell. So I did. I made arrangements. Bell guy was coming out to move her TV and her phone on the Saturday between 12 and 5. You know, they always have that big window of opportunity there kind of thing. I didn't need to be there, which is one advantage of it. I couldn't have been there on the Saturday. I had a class on Saturday, and right after the class, we were zipping over to the art gallery because was something we'll tell you about a little bit later, but we mentioned last week called RMG Exposed, and we were doing volunteer work there. So it was a bit hectic. So on Friday afternoon, we went over, actually Friday morning, just before lunch, we went over to see if she'd been moved yet and to see if we needed to like pick up her TV or telephone and all that stuff and move it to the new room. Well, the nursing staff had moved everything over into her new spot, and it was piled high. There was wires and everything all over the place. It was kind of like they just had gone in and thrown the stuff down. My mother, of course, was down having lunch, and she didn't know we were coming over anyways, and so we just checked it out and left. And I said I was going to call her later and let her know that I knew she was being moved on Friday. We'd been over, and I'd made arrangements for the services to be put over to her new room. Well,
of course, you can't call her.
I couldn't call her because the phone was disconnected on Friday, right? So I'd already cleared everything with the staff there as far as the service guy coming in, which was no big deal because they're used to that all the time, I guess. And Saturday, it's very difficult to figure out when to call my mother, when she's going to be near the phone. Because, 3 meals a day, it takes them a while to get them all lined up and down to the dining hall and everything like that. So, and you don't know if she's doing an activity or something. You don't know when to call. I still haven't figured this out yet. In fact, I was going to call her before we went on air today, but got busy with some other things, and now she'd be starting to get them lined up for Din-Dins, because Din-Dins comes at about 5, so after we finish the broadcast, I'll probably give her a call then. I might have a better chance of getting a hold of her.
Plus, the way her room's currently configured, if the phone goes on that night cabinet that's down by the window, then if she's sitting in the chair, she won't be able
to reach it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's just one thing after another. So, I'm... what was I going to say?
Too bad she doesn't know how to use cell phones. Then she could have a cell phone with her. But
no, we tried that route back when she was in the apartment. No. That's a disaster waiting to happen. So, anyways, I did call her what's today? Sunday. Yesterday. I did. I called her before we went, when I got home from my class and just before we left to go to the other thing. First time I called, I didn't get any answer, so I don't know if she was not in the room or whether she wasn't near enough to the phone to get it, as Walter just said. But I had gotten a text message from Belle saying that the guy had been there and all that stuff. So I tried her again 10 minutes later. I got a hold of her. So I said, so, I know you moved into the other room, I said. I've been busy. I haven't been able to give you a call. Of course, your phone was disconnected, so obviously your phone's working now because we're talking on it. Oh, yes. They came and they hooked that up. And I said, well, we came in on Friday. And I could hear her little lips pursing up like, you didn't let me know that you came on Friday, kind of a thing. I mean, I just know the face that she was making. And I said, you were down for lunch. We popped in just to make sure things were moved over to your room and everything like that in preparation for the guy to come and hook up your services. And I said, so, how's the new room? I said, got everything settled now and put away? Well, not really. Okay, something inside of me snaps when she talks to me like that. And I'm not exaggerating what I just did. That's how she sounds. And I know, okay, something's not to her liking. And I said, so what? When we went in on Friday, everything was sort of piled up. Well, yes, they put it all away. And it's not like she was lifting a finger for it all. And you know, she can push herself around in the wheelchair.
But she doesn't.
But she doesn't. It's just typical, okay? So anyway, I said, so what's the problem? Well, I guess it's at least it's in the cupboard. Well, what do you want them to do? Like, it's probably hanging up in the cupboard and in the drawers. It's not like you've got your fine ball gowns there or anything like that, you know,
it's not sorted in the order she wants it.
Don't want the gold lame to be polished or something like that. I don't know. So I said, well, I
was reading online yesterday that that's common for older people to do.
What's that? Bitch?
Yeah. Because they get all upset because they can't do it themselves.
Well, I get that. But with my mother...
Yeah, well, that was like that before.
Yeah, okay, that's not an excuse for my mother. But anyways... So then I said to her, so how's the new room working out? How are your roommates there? Well, one's okay, but this other one. And I went, oh. I said, what? Is there a problem with her? Well, she's not much better than the other one was, or whatever. And I don't know what that means.
Maybe she has dementia too, but she's just a little more passive.
I don't know.
Would she want a party in there, or what?
It wouldn't matter. My mother would bitch about whatever it is. In my whole 61 years of my life, I have never been able to please my mother.
Well,
never.
Across the hall from her old room, there were 3 ladies that were really...
The party girls, yeah.
Yeah, really actually kind of active.
Mm.
And then we mentioned that about them last time, and she goes, oh, them.
Them. And then I go, well, what's the matter with them? Well, I don't know. But, so you don't get any specifics or anything like that. It's just... So, anyways, as you know, I'm pretty much had it. And this moving everything around. She didn't even thank me. I said, so your television, is it working okay now? Yes. The guy came in and got it all hooked up. And said, obviously your phone's working. All right. But not a word of anything. Like, she could have said, oh, well, thanks for making those arrangements. You know, I did not make the arrangement to move her from that room. She did that on her own. So that means my mother has got the wherewithal to be able to register a complaint, make herself heard, and she got some action. Which doesn't surprise me, but I didn't do it. I'm kind of happy she's not in that room with that other woman, though I haven't met the other 2 ladies now that she's with. But I really didn't think that was an appropriate environment for my mother too. But given what we've already said about availability of rooms and things, you know, you take what you get.
She's still on a waiting list to get into either a semi-private or a private room. So whenever that can occur, but that may take a while.
Well, yeah, and I've told her this. I mean, this could take, I said to her, essentially, Mom, one of those rooms only becomes available when someone basically kicks off. Okay? So, that is the reality of it. So, kind of a hard thing to say to her, but I mean, that is the reality of it. So, anyway.
Or if they move to another facility or something like that.
Well, or something like that. Yeah, okay, fine. Whatever. But I don't know. It's a constant thing. She just is never happy. And this is not just now.
No.
This has been my whole life. My whole life, she has never been a woman you can be happy, or she could be happy about things. You can't please her. In fact, I said to one of the women at the Ultimate Sewing store the other day, she was asking about my mother, and I kind of told her what I just told you. And I said, but that's the way she's always been. And I said, the only thing is, as a kid, I didn't notice it so much because it was my poor father that had to put up with it all the time. And I said, and look where he's at right now. He's dead. And I said, so, my mother kind of drove him to an early grave, I almost think. Well, he did have dementia and stuff, but I don't know.
Well, she's a lot like my sister Margaret used to be, because my sister Margaret could never be pleased by anybody either. She was never happy with anything.
It doesn't matter what I do. She's not going to be happy. But anyways, let's see what people are saying. A lot of things being said. Tracy said, backing up, when she came on, I made masuka, dog food and a chocolate cake, and cleaned all the bedrooms upstairs and did 3 loads of dishes. Okay, are you serving... I've never heard of dog food masaka. It's masaka, isn't it?
Moussaka, yeah.
I haven't had that in a long time. I like it. But anyways, I'm sure you didn't make it out of dog food.
Maybe it just looks like dog food.
Yeah. Phyllis says, we have homes here that separate dementia patients from the others. Well, ours used to do that too, and certain facilities do have that ability, but some don't.
They will have certain homes where they have dementia patients that wander.
Wander. And so they have to put them in a lock.
They have to put them in a double lock so that they don't wander outside. But if you're just a docile dementia patient, then you're just in with the regular crowd. And right now there's like 70 or 80% of the people in nursing homes have dementia.
Mm-hmm. And the one that was in her room, she was not docile, but she wasn't in a lockdown.
She wasn't super violent.
But she couldn't walk. Well, we don't know. Because, again, we're getting the information from my mother. We saw her one day trying to get out of bed, and it took 3 nurses to calm her down and keep her in her bed. So, I don't know. Anita says, yes, Stephen, everything you're saying is familiar to me being a nurse. It is unfortunate they mix people with diagnosis of behavior and mental issues. Yep. Mel's here. Hi, Mel. And then Anita says, but you are correct in having empty beds to accommodate. Yeah. Oh, hello, Audrey. And Jody says, I've been through this too. You're doing the best you can. Is she back to reading? Good question. I suspect not. Her books are there.
Yeah, she was reading in the hospital,
yeah.
But we don't know if she's been doing that in a nursing home.
She does not give us a lot of information. I ask everything. And I say, so what did you do today? Did you join any activity? Well, they had a hymn sing down there, and I was down there for a while. She won't tell you.
And either that or if she may lie too.
Oh, she does do that as well, and we've covered that one before. So I don't know if she's reading or not, Jody. Nita says, I have a stepmother that drives me to my breaking point. I'm sure that before the week is out, we'll be at the hospital because she will not listen to anyone, has no regard to anyone else's time. Yeah, well, sounds like my mother. And then Tracy says, Stephen, do you think Mom is NPD? What's NPD? No, I don't know what NPD is.
Not privileged.
I don't know. I'm not sure what that is. Fill us in, Tracy. And he says, I help all that I can, but it is never enough. Stephen, I think we are related. Yep. You can't do, it doesn't matter. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Andy's here. Hi, Andy.
Oh my God, NDP.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think that. Phyllis says it's too bad that there has to be 3 to a room. Glad to hear there's a list for semi-private rooms. I find that type of person you are when you're younger gets exaggerated as you get older.
Narcissistic
Personality disorder. That I've never heard that term, but you
I have
know,
to look that up.
but you know, yes, I could see that because narcissistic means you're stuck on yourself. And my mother
It's
is
identified by a sense of self-importance, lack of empathy, and great need. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like my mother. Yeah, it could be, but how do you battle that? She's on an antidepressant, and in fact, I talked to the nurse practitioner
And a great need for admiration.
Oh yeah, well, there's that too. Yeah, so
That could be.
Yeah, she could be. Maybe I should bring that up to the nurse practitioner next time I'm talking to her. But I did talk to her last week. I filled her in on all my concerns about my mother and everything, and she said that I just lost my train of thought right off the
You do that all the time.
I'm stressed out. Like, that's the problem. It's starting to worry me that I'm getting dementia. Yeah, don't roll your eyes. You've had it for years. Hello? Walter? Walter?
Okay, well,
hello? Hello?
I would try to help you with your memory problem, but I wasn't listening to you.
Yeah, that's your problem. You moron. We'll come to that part later.
Moron.
And Anita says MPD is very manipulative people too. It describes my mother to the nth degree. Yeah. So I don't know. There was something I was going to say.
We'll have to look into that a little further.
Yeah. Phyllis says, too bad there's 3 in a room. Well, not all nursing homes are here. The older ones, they used to have 4 in a room.
That's for basic level.
Yeah, this is basic level that she's at. Basic level means that you might qualify for government support for paying for the whole thing. Government already pays for part of it, but my mother, of course, made too much money. So if you make $3, it's too much money.
Well, so then what happened here was she got put into a basic room because we were kind of desperate to get her into a facility. So we just listed any room that came available first. And it happened that basic came up first. That's why she's now on a waiting list to get into semi-private or private. Semi-private has 2 people in the room. And those rooms are actually quite large.
Yeah, they're much bigger.
But there's only 2 people in the room, or private. But in this particular place, there's only about 4 rooms that are private, or
9.
Okay, 9 rooms that are private out of 200 people that are in there. So
I don't know how many semi-privates they have. They don't have that many.
I think they have 50 semi-privates.
Do they?
But so just to get her in, the waiting lists here in this area in Canada are supposed to be the worst area to live in Canada to try and get into a nursing home.
We're the most populated area.
Yeah, they're most populated. So the nicer nursing homes, they only have semi-private. Their basic rooms are almost like a single room. You don't have you have a separating wall, but you're joined as one room. But the problem with those places are they have the longest waiting list.
Yeah.
And the easiest one to get into has a 4-year waiting list.
And she is on the waiting list for one of those type of rooms. But it could be 4 or 5 years.
4 years for her to get into that.
And I suspect by then she will have settled into this place. Now, there's a possibility she could get moved out of this place in a few years' time because they're building a new one.
Yeah, they are.
And we don't know. The problem is we don't know. And you have to take it as it comes. Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, but what's the alternative? Like, live on the street. She's not coming to live with me.
I mean, so far the staff have been really good.
Yeah, I mean, no complaints about staff. And she seems to like the food when she's not throwing up with it. Because that's what the whole...
They do prepare their own food. And instead of some nursing homes have it, like, purchased and ship it in. It's pretty neat.
There they make it right there.
They make it there. So, and It sounds like it has pretty good variety on it.
Yeah, it sounds like a great variety. And
I mean,
of course,
she has sort of like Eggs Benedict one morning
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So
yes, Anita, I'm going to hang in there. I have to. What choice do I have? But we'll come to a coping skill in a moment with that. But just looking at what people are saying, yep, there's some referral to Trump here as being MPD. Yes. And then Anita says, well, whatever personality traits a person has when younger, this amplifies as they get older. In other words, they don't change. IDK about you all, but getting unable to care for myself scares the hell out of me. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what IDK is about you all, but yeah, I know. And actually, that's one of my fears too, is never say never. You know, in 10 years' time, when I'm in my early 70s, a lot of things can happen in 10 years. As we well know, a lot of things can happen in 10 days, 10 hours. I don't know what state I'm going to be in. I mean, my father had dementia. I don't know if it's an inherited trait. I hope not. I don't want it.
my mother had it.
Yeah, your mother had it. So I
My
mean,
mother also went blind. So
yeah. So we have no idea what the future will bring with it all. But the bottom line of all of this, and you've heard me harp on this before, is she did this to herself. I did not put my mother in a home.
Well, part of her problem, like,
Let me finish a sentence, for God's sakes. Today you're just real hyper. Put
Yeah,
up the
yeah,
Christmas
yeah.
lights, got all that fresh air. That must have been it. Yeah, now I forgot what I was going to say.
you were talking about
Yeah, I said, you don't know
what's going to happen to you.
what's going to happen to you. And so, you know, never say never kind of a deal. But at the same time, you know, I'm trying my best. I'm doing my best. I'm not looking for sympathy for this. I know there's people that have it worse than I have, okay? And I realize that. I'm not looking for sympathy. I can only talk about that which I am experiencing, and this is what I'm experiencing right now. And there's just the two of us, really, doing the majority of the work. My sister, you know, she tries what she can, but she works. And as you know, my brother's in Vancouver, and he's out of the picture because out of sight, out of mind. I sent him another message about calling my mom and the whole bit. I got nothing back. So we've gone to that again. I thought we'd opened up the door to communication, and apparently that door is shut. And it's shut for two reasons. His wife's a bitch, and my brother has no balls. As simple as that. So I have never done anything to my brother or to his family. If anything, we've always been very supportive of them. It was when they were living here and the whole bit. But I don't know. Anyways, and he says, laugh out loud, you guys. We put our outdoor lights up too on Friday. Okay, so anyways, the continuing adventures of my mother. And so let's leave it at that. But I said there may be relief coming. She doesn't know about this yet, but she will be told next week. Well, one, I'm limiting my visits to her to once a week when I feel like it. I will call her on a regular basis. If she gets the phone, she gets the phone. If she doesn't get the phone, she doesn't get the phone. I keep myself reassured that I know that no harm can come to her because she's not on her own. She's being fed, watered, you know, all that stuff, toileted, bathed, looked after. So I have a little bit of a, you know, what do you call it, little solace in that. But anyways, we're going on a trip. We're going on 2 trips. We are going to Florida for a week, Fort Lauderdale. When are we going?
January 15th.
January the 15th. We might do Stephen and Walter live, depending on their Wi-Fi, when we're down there. We are going to a gay resort. It's owned, actually, a few years ago, we went away at Christmas time a couple of times, New Year's, and we stayed twice at this one place, and we really liked it. But the last time we booked it, about 2 months before we were scheduled to go there, our reservation got canceled because the guy that owned it sold it. So we were a little pissed off at that, but, you know, he was a nice guy. It was a great place, and we missed that. So we booked another place, and it was,
we wouldn't stay there.
no. So anyways, we haven't been down in a few years, at Christmas time to Fort Lauderdale, and we've been itching to get away. So Air Canada had a seat sale. What was it? $400 round trip to Florida,
which is really good right now.
That's
because
really
I checked
cheap.
earlier this year. It was between $600 and $800 return.
Yeah. So
Our flights from Canada are not cheap.
no. So this guy that I was talking about that sold his place, he bought a new one, and it's not that far away from where he had the original one. And so Wolf just booked us in there because we're assuming it's going
And
to
it
be,
has good reviews. So.
Yeah. And it is a gay resort. And
Yeah, go ahead.
this guy, he every day they have like a happy hour, freebie drinks in the place. And now his old place, it was really nicely situated. It was an older place, but it had all these palm trees and everything around it. There was like a combination pool, hot tub kind of a thing. And there was a lot of people that were there that a couple of times when we went, there was one guy, he was there the first time we went, same time we were there, and he was there the next time,
He
same
spent
time.
pretty much the whole winter there.
Yeah, pretty much out of it. I think
So-
he lived in Boston.
Yeah, but it's nice because it tended to cater to more mature people.
Yes, older gentlemen.
More mature people, and it was nice to sit around and talk to a bunch of other people there.
Yeah, it was okay. Don't get all titillated, ladies. It is a clothes optional place. We don't take that option because really we don't want to scare anybody with this clothes optional. And most people there,
It's mostly just
Yeah.
in the pool.
yeah, that was the only thing. And this place too is that as well. But we're not going there because of that. Okay, that's not. It's just that it's. Oh, how do you put it gently? There's no women or children. Sorry. And when I say women, I mean lesbians. Okay. And when I say lesbians, I mean bitch. But sorry, I'm not that fond of lesbians. I
Well,
tried.
they're not that fond of us.
No, they're not that fond of us, so. Yeah, like gay guys in
We're
general.
sort of like oil and water.
No. But anyway, so we've got that book. That's just for 1 week. So looking forward to that. And then.
I know it can be iffy weather in January in Florida, but it'll be better than here.
Yeah, it's not here. The way I look at it, it's not here. And Fort Lauderdale is actually years ago, back in the 80s, in the 70s, and the
They
80s.
went through a bad stage.
It was a hole. But it's all like been gentrified and cleaned up and everything. At least the last couple of times we were there, there's some interesting restaurants to go to, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Plus, there may be some quilt stores. I have to look them up.
Yeah, there's a whole pile of them.
Yeah, can't buy too much because we're flying. But anyways, so that. But then we have a trip booked in March.
Well, we have a flight so far.
Well, we had the flight. We're going back to Australia, people. We're going this time. Nairi, we won't be anywhere near you. Sorry, dear. This time we're flying to Brisbane. And we're going to make our way possibly up to
the
Darwin.
coast, yeah. Well, up the coast, we'd have to fly to Darwin if we go to Darwin.
Oh, do we have to
Yeah.
fly to Darwin?
Yeah, it's too far to drive, so.
Well. So, looking forward to that because you know how much we love Australia. In fact, get the things there. There's
We can't remember if we had these last
No.
time we were here, so.
So Nairi, is Nairi on? I thought I saw Nairi. Maybe Nairi's not here. No, Nairi's not on. Okay.
She'll catch it on.
Yeah. So anyways, there's this, when I was in my sewing class this week, there's a woman in the sewing class that I taught when I first started teaching. Yeah, back in the 80s. Her son and daughter-in-law are in Australia right now, and I guess her son has fallen in love with these particular cookies. Cue the cookies.
Tim Tams.
Tim Tams. Take one out and show them what they looks like.
They're chocolate-covered biscuit with a filling in them.
Now, I don't remember if we had any of them there or not. We may have, but they're actually quite tasty. Ooh, now we'll have to eat it. It's a broken cookie. Only half the calories. Actually, there's no calories in a broken cookie. They all leak out. But they're not cheap here. So what was that? You bought them at where? At Walmart?
Walmart, yeah.
And they were how much for a package?
Almost $3.
Almost $3. And you only get how many in it?
I don't know.
10? Maybe, or something like that. So anyways, I don't remember having them when we were in Australia before.
I think we had a cookie, but I can't remember what it was.
I don't think it was that cookie.
No.
But anyways.
We didn't really realize that they were like Australian.
No. But they are. And anyways, this lady was talking about it, that her son has fallen in love with them and the whole bit. And she was the one who told me, she said, you can get them here. And I said, oh, can you? So Walter went out and found them and we had them. And they're actually okay. I'm not that excited about them, but I would be at $1. $3, not that.
I would have thought they were sweeter, like a chocolate-covered Oreo, but they're not.
They are tasty. What other flavors did they come in?
They came in. There's double chocolate.
Ooh.
And then there's chocolate with caramel in it.
That might be good. Well, we had the ones that we had that had raspberry weren't those. They were supposed to be chilled.
Mm.
That's what they told you. You're supposed to chill them, and then we thought they weren't that exciting. I don't know what they were called. Kangaroo intestine or something. I'm not sure what it was. Anyways, excited about going back to Australia because you know how much we love it.
Mm. And the reason we decided to go, well, we had talked about it before, possibility of doing that. But then we were talking about going other places. But then this week, because Air Canada had a Black Friday sale, so I looked at their flight rates to get to Brisbane, and they were really good.
Well, it's $1,200 each round trip.
Right.
That's the cheapest we've paid for a flight to Australia. Our first flight to Australia was $3,000 a piece round trip. Second one was about $1,800.
Yeah. Well, the 3,000
was because we went at Christmas time.
We went at Christmas time, and we had to fly to Auckland and return from Australia, so you pay a premium when you go to 2 different cities.
Yeah. So Mel says, and so does Anita, how long are you staying in Australia? We'll be 3 weeks this time. A little bit more than 3 weeks.
Well, it's 24 days, but actually it works out to 21 because we lose 3 days when traveling.
So we're not going for as long as we did last time. Last time we were there for 5 weeks. But the East Coast, I'm not sure, like you have the Barrier Reef, and there's the Australian Zoo, and I don't know, there's probably lots of other things too. Walter has to do his research yet and figure it all out. But
yeah, I just picked 2 dates, and then we'll figure out what we're doing while we're there.
I don't know what it is about Australia that I love so much, but I do. I love Australia. I love Australians. They're such a breath of fresh air because they don't know anything about being politically correct. And they just say what's on their mind. They don't say it facetiously. They just say it. But it's stuff that they say there that if we said it here, people will be going, oh, you can't say that! Which we'll bring up something about that in a moment that we saw on the news this week. But anyways, yep. So I think someone said here, I'm just backing up a little bit. Tracy says you can suck coffee through a Tim Tam. It's called Tim Tam Slam. I didn't know there was a whole thing about these. Jody says, just did a search and you can get the cookies at Target. Or as we like to call it, Target, but it doesn't exist in Canada anymore. It didn't do too well. Tracy says, I wanted rum raisin Tim Tams. They have rum raisin Tim Tams?
They probably have all different flavors in Australia.
Oh, and Jody says, me too. They sell for $3.19. Wow. I would assume, Jody, that's American dollars you're saying, $3.19. Like we're talking $3 Canadian. If you're saying $3.19 American, that's $4.50 here, roughly?
Well, multiply by 1.3.
Well, okay, so I'm close. Those are expensive cookies for that. Yeah, they sort of do look like bourbon biscuits. If you're talking about the ones that
Yeah.
you get in the Peak Frames, I love the bourbon ones.
The cookie itself in it is very
Soft.
soft, not soft,
It's crisp.
crisp,
It's crisp, but it's
and
not
very light.
Yeah, it's light. It's like a wafer kind of a thing.
And the filling isn't as sweet as an Oreo or anything like that. It's a lighter tasting filling. It's not as sugary.
So Tracy says, what you do is you bite a tiny bit off one end and the other, and then use it like a straw.
Mm.
Oh, it might be good in booze. I don't know. I'm not sucking my champagne through it. So anyways, yep, we've got those 2 trips planned, and that gives us something to look forward to, and I am sure my mother's going to give me somewhat of grief about it, but too bad, she's looked after. This will be the first time in a few years that we're able to go on a trip, and I don't have to worry about her.
We're also booked at times when his sister is not going to be away.
Yeah.
So if there anything comes up,
They can
then his
contact
sister
her.
can deal with it.
Yeah. And we'll let the nursing home know when we're away and all that stuff anyways, but yeah. So it can't come too soon. I don't know which I'm more excited.
Well, actually, what happened was I booked the Australia thing first.
Yeah.
But I didn't book it until middle March, first week in April type of thing, right? And which is their fall, I think. They're beginning of their fall.
Well, it's the beginning of their fall, yeah.
But and then but then I thought I don't know if I want to wait that long to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So then that's when I looked at Fort Lauderdale, and because we've been at the type of resort, or the guy that owns this resort,
we know.
we kind of know what to expect, and so that's why I picked Fort Lauderdale, because it's just we just know kind of what to expect.
I wonder if he still has that parrot.
He does, apparently,
Oh, does
according
he?
to the reviews. He had a parrot, yeah.
Yeah, he had a parrot in the old place that was...
Peanut.
Peanut, that's right. But Peanut would come out and walk around.
Yeah.
And, you throw it peanuts. And things like that. It was his pet. And, well, parrots live to be quite an age.
Yeah, parrots can live like 80 years.
80 years or something like that. Until they put them in a home and they have dementia. And then they just go, Polly... Eat my cracker! Eat my cracker! Whatever. Okay, so, yeah, we got that booked. So, tomorrow my vlog, I'm doing stuff. I don't know what. Sewing classes. So, what you making Serger class this week? You came home with a pillow, didn't you?
No, that was the week before. This week was my sweatshirt.
Oh, I can't keep up. Your sweatshirt. Yeah.
I did my sweatshirt. I did a sweatshirt.
Okay.
And next week she's supposed to be showing us different ways of stitching, and you're invited.
Yeah, I know. I'm coming. She already told me. I guess she expects me to come. Maybe she thinks this is going to make up for the class that I didn't get in how to do embroidery on T-shirts.
No, she said anybody could bring a guest.
Oh, she gonna have food? Okay. I've got my modern quilt and Sydney bag classes. The modern quilt's coming along quite nicely. The instructor, it's the one that Walter had, same instructor that taught him how to do the stained glass quilt. She's an ex-teacher, like a retired teacher in the whole bit. I thought I might run into problems with her because of the way he described her to a point, but actually she's a pretty good teacher. The only complaint I have about her, and it's a minor one, is that she's too helpful. This modern quilt is made up of some really wild squares, and I'm not going to show it to you today because right now it's still in pieces. I'm waiting until I get my rows sewn together, and that'll give you a better impression of it. I did do some well, Walter didn't think that the instructor she'd really go for my colors, and she didn't at first, because I used a designer's colors that are called K-Facet, who does very bold prints, almost psychedelic, but I wanted to do this. I love K-Facet fabrics. My very first quilt was made from a K-Facet kit, and they just say wow when you look at them in the face. And I figured I'm doing what they call a modern quilt, so let's do it in very modern, bold colors. And you had to pick a neutral color for the background. I picked blue, of course, to go, because I'm heavy in the blues and the yellows and that in this patterning. And at first she was looking at it and going, oh, I'm not so sure. You know, it's very blue. She kept saying, this is going to be very blue. And I said, not your quilt, my quilt. Thanks for the suggestion, move on. But she's very good, and she keeps laying it out on the table, and she says, oh, maybe we should put this block up here, and then put this block over here. And it just about, it's abstract. You know, I don't, in my way of thinking, she's over-analyzing it. I don't care. It'll look fine when it's done, but I let her go ahead and make the suggestions, and then she was helping me. She was pressing pieces and bringing me more pieces to sew and then pressing them, because there's only 2 of us on the other day in the class, so she's got lots of time, and I think she's kind of bored. Well, she actually says that. I said, I don't want to be bored, so I'm helping you all do this, and she was helping the other girl too with her stuff. But it was getting a little annoying because it was like I was in a sweatshop. Here, sew this. Press, 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 press. Here, sew this. Put this one on here. Put that one on that. And then I go, Karen, I think I sewed this on wrong. Oh, let me have that. I'll rip that out. Rip, rip, rip. Okay, this is the best way to rip it out. Okay, we'll press that over. Put this one here. While I'm doing that, you go over here. We'll put this over here. Karen, how much coffee have you had, dear? Really, settle down. It's my quilt. I would like to enjoy the process here and at least understand what the hell I'm doing, not just being told, here's another piece to sew. But she has a good heart. I mean, she's just doing it to help. So, anyways, this week I will be putting the top together. And she keeps bugging. So she says to me, well, you'll be ready to quilt. I don't really want her to watch me quilt, because I have a feeling I'm not going to do it the way she thinks it should be done. And you know, I kind of like to sometimes be a little bit daring on what's going on. So with this quilt, I don't know what I'm going to do. So anyways, we'll see. But I'll show it to you. The Sydney Begg class, borderline frustrating. It is a challenge. There's no 2 ways about it. And I knew it was going to be, and I took it for that reason, because I really wanted to learn how to do some of the more complicated things in making. This isn't a tote bag. It's a satchel. Some people might call it a purse. It's not a purse. It's a satchel. It's a merce. Whatever. But I have learned quite a bit in that class. Like, I've learned that I don't want to work in denim again. I've also learned that you need a lot of patience when the person that's instructing it has already given you the pattern and says, I don't like the way they do it in the pattern. I'm going to show you how to do something different. Okay. But whatever. It'll be fine. And she's a good teacher too, so she's a little bit more laid back than Karen is. So, anyways, those are coming up. Again, I'm not going to show you anything about the Sydney Begg for a bit yet, because it's in pieces. It doesn't look like a bag. It just looks like a whole lot of pieces with clips all over it and that. So maybe this week it'll start to shape into more of a bag. Okay, so let's just check what people are saying. Phyllis says some quilters are totally traditional, and Kathy's designs makes them uncomfortable. Good luck with yours. I love Tim Holt's line of fabrics. Yes, and he's just come out with a new line of fabrics, which
Tim Holtz?
yeah, that they got at Ultimate Sewing.
Oh yeah.
And I really like them. Problem is, I have a kit I bought back in the summer when we went, you know, for my birthday. We went west of us, and we went and did all these quilt shops. And there was a Tim Holtz quilt, one made out of his fabrics in this one place, and they had the kit, and I bought the kit. Have I started the kit? No. When am I going to start the kit? Who knows? But yeah, but I love Tim, you know how I am about Tim Holtz stuff. So, and then Shirley at Ultimate Sewing said a few weeks ago, oh, have you seen the new Tim Holtz fabric? And I said, he's making fabric again? Because I thought he discontinued it. I thought he stopped making it. Apparently not. But the funny thing is, he doesn't do any YouTube videos that I can find that he himself about his fabric, which makes me wonder why that is. Unless it's because he doesn't sew, and it's his designs that they're using in the fabric, so maybe that's why he doesn't push it. Maybe he figures other people will be pushing it. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, I like his fabric. But the one problem with his fabric is, well, it's not a problem, but his style is vintage and distressed, and his fabrics all look like that as well. And I like that, but I'm trying to break away from doing dark.
Cafe or Kafer, whatever.
He's the opposite.
He's very bold. And at first, when I looked at the fabrics, I thought, they're a little too bold even for me. But actually, I've really grown to like them. Yeah. I think they're really nice.
Well, you haven't seen my rows that are laid out yet on this. This is going to be a really fun quilt when it's done. It's a throw size. It's a little bigger than a throw, I think. It's going to turn out to when I put the borders and that on it. But I think it's going to be one of those, this is sort of in your face, and that's what I want. I want in your face. Because this is kind of, what do they call it, a transitional drug for me to move from traditional quilting to designing my own art quilts. Because eventually I really want to try and break all the rules and do an art quilt. And I don't know what that looks like, and I don't know what I have in mind for this, but that's where I want to go. So I've been leaning more and more towards that, although I do like traditional quilts too, so we'll see. Ilona's here. Hi, Ilona. Carol says, laugh out loud, man purse. Yeah, merce. It's a merce. I prefer the term satchel. Carol says, I agree, Stephen. Tim always looks the same to me. Yeah. I think Tim's, now what he's doing is, I've noticed just today, he put up, or yesterday, he put up a YouTube video called Hacks. And he's using some of his products and showing you how to do like quickie things for Christmas with them and stuff like that. He's had a lot of this stuff lately. Now, of course, it's the Christmas season. He did come out with a new line of stamps from Stampers Anonymous that he designs for and stuff like that. But his stuff is getting a little old. I don't get as excited about what he comes out with. In fact,
and he doesn't seem to come out with it. He doesn't come out with stuff that's like radically different. It's always like that vintage look.
Well, he's run out of colors for his ink line, and I have them all. And I just got the last 12 colors. Cost me like $100 for my for his oxide inks. The last 12 colors, and I haven't even been using them, any of them, in a while, because I've moved over into the fabric world now, away from the paper crafting world, and so it's force of habit. I mean, I have a standing order at my local craft store at Class Act for anything new from Tim Holtz in terms of his stencils, because I have all of his stencils. I don't use the stencils anymore much. And I have every one of his stencils, and it's like 100, and it's getting close to 200 stencils. Does one person need 200 stencils? Really? And if I don't stop there, because I've got most of my Deacon stencils, I've got all these others. I have probably 400 up.
Uh-oh, we froze.
Oh, we froze. Damn it! What is this all about? Okay, let's hope, people, that we will unfreeze. So
well, I wonder if it had something to do with also the bandwidth they were talking about. Like,
maybe.
What are you on? Are you on 2?
I don't know which one it's on. It's probably on 2. Okay. So, are we frozen, people? We're frozen at our end. And can you still hear us? Carol says, restart, Stephen. Maybe that will help.
Well, we'll give it a few minutes, because...
We'll give it a few seconds. We're not going to give it a few minutes. We'll know and see if it lightens up. But if it doesn't, then we'll try to do a reconnect. So that means, I'm not sure what that means. It may mean that you will all have to reconnect in too. So we'll see. I hope we don't lose you. Yeah, they can still hear us, Mel says. But we're frozen. This is nuts. I wonder if it has to do with our provider, with Bell. Are they throttling us?
I have a problem with Leo too all the time.
Okay, I'm not going to sit here and wait for this I'm going to try something, people. So bear with us. I am actually going to go out and come back in. I don't know what it's going to look like on your end. So if we lose you, try to reconnect with us. And we'll see, because that's the best I think I can do. Okay, here we go. I'm going to give it a shot.